start?
No, Dana can start.
Dana can start.
You start.
You can start it.
Go on, Dana, you start. Look, I'll start. Good evening and welcome to Boro Chat. Look, show 7. Who'd have thought we'd have got here, Phil? Who'd have thought we'd have got here? And with the calibre of guests we've got coming in, our broom cupboard here, it is unbelievable. Look, welcome to Yaff's Gaff, the Teesside Rambler, and the one, the only, the legend that is Dana Malt.
One intro, that is.
Dana, babe, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for.
What are you going to do next week when the next guest's on?
That's my best bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
look,
I'm honoured.
Dana, we've known each other a long time, since our escapades on the other radio place, but you've got about 84 jobs now, haven't you? So let's go.
Number, yeah?
let's go through them. Boro Breakdown.
Yeah.
You do a bit with BBC Tees after games. I've heard you're on there with Mado. Fantastic. And Regular Athletic, which we're going to come on to a little bit later on because we're going to chat about Regular Athletic.
Yeah.
Where's the other?
81.
The 78, 9.
We haven't. These people haven't listened to the job titles. We're talking about the Boro. Anyway, Dana, tell us a bit about yourself. So, Boro Breakdown. We look at your graphics all the time. Which your graphic designer's fantastic, by the way.
Shout out Matt Rowney.
I've seen a little graphic with players to positions and depth things, which again we're going to come on later on, which was fantastic. But tell them all about Boro Breakdown now they can see your podcast or listen to it.
Yeah, so we obviously started, I can't remember when it was, I think it was about 2018. We were sort of room hopping at Teesside University because we didn't have a place to actually record. Then we did, we had a studio, we did a bit of radio work, and then post-COVID sort of changed things.
Yeah.
And we're on StreamYard now, we do live streams, sometimes we go live, but it's sometimes a bit funny. Because my internet goes out in the old TS6.
Oh, we've had that here.
Yeah, laser beam service. And yeah, we've kind of just grown from there, really. A lot of trial and error, as you'll know. But
massive following, though, haven't you? I mean, and obviously yourself, Johnny, and the other gentleman, I always forget his name. Tom. We were just chatting about him next door, and I forgot his name. Tom, I'm sorry if you're watching.
Because you just know Elliot, don't you?
Yeah, and I know Elliot. Yeah, I know Elliot. But yeah, I always remember because we used to have a bit of crack. We used to follow each other, didn't we, on the shows?
We used to kick you out the studio.
You used to kick us out the studio, but I always used to think like, what a massive following that podcast got. Obviously, Johnny, yourself speak the truth. That's why I think people tune into us as well because we don't necessarily. We're not here to sort of slag the Boro off and have a go at the club. But what we are here, we're here to give a fan's opinion,
Straight talking,
and a straight talking fan's opinion, which is what Boro Breakdown does, doesn't it?
Yeah, we always try to be honest, and sometimes honesty is taken as what we've just kind of mentioned, like going in on the club, but it's not always the case. You know, you always want to be honest, don't you? You never want to pander to the masses. You want to have your own opinions. So yeah, I've always been quite opinionated. I've always been someone that just loves to talk about football. I used to chew my dad's ear off, even though he's partially deaf, so he can't really listen to me a lot of the time. So Boro Breakdown's just the perfect opportunity.
So before we get started, last week, Dana, obviously you'll have been watching religiously, but last week we were asking people about their first game because I'm very old, so my game, I'm not even going to go to the age, the year I went my first game. Phil was telling me, and Paul was telling us, and Courtney was telling us what game. Can you remember your first Boro game? When was it?
It was actually the game before we dismantled Man City 8-1. It was 2-0 against Portsmouth, the back end of the 2007-2008 season. So
2007.
How do you feel now, yeah?
Well, all I'll say is I think I've got boxer shorts older than that. But anyway.
Yeah, what game that was. That was the game I decided a season ticket was in the offing for that game. I think it was only 90 quid at the time for
I thought it was like that all the time. Yeah. I thought it was. I think there was a Mexican wave going on and everything. I was like, oh great, I could get used to this. 9 goals in a game. I don't think I saw 9 in that.
I won't talk about Cardiff in 1981. Anyway, listen. Let's chat about. Let's exactly. If some of you weren't even born, listen. Boro Bradford, look, we're going right back to Boro Bradford. I know we've got the French team we played on Saturday, but let's go right back. Boro Bradford, obviously 3-3. The gaffer gave some fringe players an opportunity to impress Phil. 3-3. Do we think it's a? Do we think we were expecting a 3-3 draw?
I think even we were sat in here last week and we expected to go out against Bradford and beat them. But what I will say on that is, it's a pre-season game. We know that Michael in the past has said that He needs all of his players ready at the drop of a hat. And it was probably more likely that some of these fringe players were going to get a game. But on the flip side of that, 3 different players scoring a goal, it sets us up well for the start of the season. The more players you've got firing come the first game, the better. And let's not forget, at the minute, there's still no sign of Tuba. So we need one of those
he's
players.
Had to bring that in, Dana. He's trying to wound me up here.
We need one of those players to hit the ground running.
We do.
And if he's not going to be there for the start, we don't know what's going on with him. But if he's not going to be there for Millwall, somebody else needs to be able to almost pick the baton up from where he left it on the pitch last season and go into that first game scoring goals, not taking 3 or 4 games to find his footing to gel more with the team and then start scoring. It needs to be from day one.
Do you think, Dana, obviously from a fan's our point of view, do you think we'd expect him to go on sort of the latter part of pre-season, really? I mean, Portugal seems a lifetime away now when I was sunning myself over there. Anyway, 3-3 at Bradford. Is that a game as Boro fans we're expecting to go down there and see a bit of a top-notch performance, bearing in mind the penultimate game?
Yeah, you do, but I mean, I said this on Boro Breakdown, I hate pre-season.
Yeah.
I really do wish that for most games, they're just behind closed doors. Because then I think it stops a lot of the anxiety that you see on social media. Obviously, social media is just rife with it, isn't it, in the off-season, because there's not a lot to talk about, but I just hate pre-season. Firstly, they're roadblock games towards the actual thing, so I just feel like they're delaying the inevitable that actually brings in the excitement, which is the opening game of the season and the opening few games of the season. But yeah, you do expect to go up to Bradford and win, but it's pre-season, isn't it? And you look at that Middlesbrough squad, it's incomplete. So you're going to see a performance that is very much of a similar vein, an incomplete performance.
So, I mean, like I say, I agree. I just like to think to myself that I would look. I'm looking at the players that we've got out. You know, your man Tuba, which we've talked about, which we're going to come on to later on, which is a wind up to me. But you know, the likes.
Keep going. I'm just helping out.
So,
I've not done anything, I promise.
So we've had a few questions. Sorry to stop you there, Dana. We've had a few questions on the Facebook Live. I'm actually getting a text message as well, which will be saying something's wrong with the stream. You know,
it's me. I'm a curse.
It keeps stopping. So just bear with us. We're not gonna come off and come back on and start again. We'll try and keep you on, and we'll keep you updated. So just give us a thumbs up if it sort of calms down. We've never had this type of... The only technical input we had before was our internet access, which the club sorted out for us. We had to be off after 28 minutes, and we didn't know.
That one.
We didn't know, and after 28 minutes, the internet kicked us off, didn't it? But we haven't got that problem anymore. So we're the only ones in the club who are allowed to stay on for as long as we want. So we shouldn't be a problem there. But look, get involved. Send us your messages. This is why we have the lives like this. You're telling us that there's a problem. Let's have a look who's watching. Tony Costello all the way from Salford. Cozzy, good evening, mate. Matthew Wilson from TS6. Norman B United under 10s. Matthew Wilson, good to see you. Craig Fletcher. My mate Graham Arundel's watching as well. Cozzy's telling us it's breaking up. So look, if it's breaking up in Salford, let's blame Salford. Yeah, let's blame Salford. Michelle Besford, good evening, Michelle. She's telling me, sorry, I shouldn't have done that one. She's telling us it's breaking up as well, and look, she's in the town, so Matthew Wilson's coming up saying live stream keeps pausing, says there's a technical fault.
I'm telling you, it's me.
We have got the Reg the Rock on, pressing all the buttons and sort of twiddling the dials, so
My fault.
let's blame the Reg the Rock. Stuart Gawley, Wi-Fi no good. Is that our Wi-Fi, Stu, or do we need to send you some money for yours? Phil Bullock, we'll take a look. My mum's watching. Good evening, mum. Gonna leave and come back. That's what Michelle said. Oh, Michelle, please don't go. Anyway, Jesse's watching. Tony Dixon, Marc out walking, and it's fine. Marc out walking.
He's out walking, but the stream seems fine.
Oh, so he's out walking. Tony, sorry, mate. Is that Tony from BT Promotions just behind there? Is it Facebook?
It could be.
Do we think we've got a technical problem with Facebook? Do we need to come off and start again?
I think it's just Facebook itself.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing we can do. It will come back on. There's nothing on our side that says there's an issue.
Just keep us involved. Just keep sending us messages. I know. The likes of Tony and Michelle's going to come back on and play things like that. We've still got a couple watching, so it says we're live. It says not saying there's a problem our end to do with us. So Stu Gawley, it's not our Wi-Fi. Not Stu Gawley. Stu. What was his name?
Yeah, Stu Gawley.
No, it wasn't Stu.
Yeah, it was.
Was
the
it?
Wi-Fi's no good. Stu Gawley.
Was it Stu?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stu. Where's Stu from?
Canada.
Right.
Transatlantic.
It's your Wi-Fi. You're pulling the Wi-Fi from Saltersgill all the way to Canada. There's no way it's going to work, Stu. Right, should we get back to where we were?
And after that cock up, I'll see you next week.
Yeah. Mark, I'm in Newmask Woods and all is good. Tony, I won't ask you why you're in Newmask Woods, but thank you if we're working, my mate. So, let's get back. By the way, I only wear these cosmetically. You know that, don't you, Dana?
There we go,
yeah.
Bingo card there.
Hayden Coulson started at left back against Bradford. Now, I'm quite impressed with Hayden Coulson at the minute. I won't lie to you. Yeah, I am. Bear in mind, I sat on here a couple of weeks ago, Phil, saying he's one out the door. He's going to go back out on loan. He won't be wanted. He's not a Carrick type of player. Well, maybe needs must, by the way. But I thought against, and we're going to come on to Auxerre, and I only watch the highlights. The thing is, when I watch the highlights, I'm very well aware that highlights are highlights. It's only going to show us Boro's good bits. It's not going to show us their bad bits, is it? But in the highlights I've watched Hayden Coulson play, and the times I've watched him play live, I don't think he's had a bad pre-season, to be fair. Is he the answer? I don't know. Matthew Oppie up front as well. What do we think about him?
Yeah, he's an interesting one because I don't know his position in the team. I think he's played out wide at Schalke and Mallorca as well, but he's played up front. We haven't really seen much of him, have we? And therefore there's more questions than answers. I think it is telling that Rodgers is up front and he's not getting the opportunity, Matthew Oppie. Does that mean that he'll probably go out on loan, potentially?
Yeah.
I don't really see where he fits because I just don't know his position in his team. There's a big incentive there for him though. He went to Hibs, didn't he?
Yeah.
He went to Hibs. I think he played about 8 games. I don't think he completed a lot of 90 minutes. So there's a point to prove. I saw on his Instagram story the other day. He was in the gym, obviously working on his fitness and stuff as it's expected.
Not in the hairdresser's then.
No, not in the hairdresser. Well, he's getting a nice mullet, but it's a weird sort of
proper
it's like a microphone,
American redneck mullet.
It looks like an Australian mullet to me, but anyway, yeah, you are right. He's an American, isn't he? But
yeah, there's a big incentive there for him.
Yeah, I mean, I just think with the players we brought, I mean, that's Silvera. Everyone's raving about him, aren't they? I mean, another one who was at the ground running for me, Silvera against Bradford. But 3-3 overall. I'm going to round it up because we're going to talk about Auxerre. We're going to look forward to Millwall and chat a bit about local football as well. But loads of thumbs up and love hearts there, so we must be working. I'm like you. Pre-season is pre-season. It's exactly what it says in the tin. It's whether we're talking about Bradford Athletic or whether we're talking about the Boro. Pre-season is pre-season. Yeah. It's about getting minutes into legs. Game time is totally different to doing anything in the gym or inside football. Game time in friendlies or pre-season matches, whatever you want to call them. It's about getting minutes in the legs. I am a little concerned about transfers. We'll come on to that a little bit later because Phil always brought the tube a bit thing up.
We've got to talk about it.
He's trying to wind me up. That's what he's trying to do, Dana.
I just mentioned that it was obviously he was missing.
He's missing for a reason, in my opinion.
But he's injured.
That's what
I say it told us. So he's injured.
I say it every week. It's all about opinion. So look, we sent the Red Rock down to the Riverside Stadium to watch Boro against Auxerre. I was here at party in the car park, by the way, and I did say I was going to put a video on to tell you what was going on at party in the car park. I'd love to say that I wasn't busy, but I was. I didn't stop moving around. The club was absolutely chock-a-block, and I was helping the club out. But do we think, Dana, that team what started against the French side, do we think that's potentially probably the starting 11?
I think so, yeah. I think you do tend to see that in pre-season where the final pre-season game, it's very similar, if not the exact same, to the opening game. It is weird though because within it I'm surprised that he's playing Force out wide and not central because I would have thought that Force would play that central role in pre-season. He got 10 goals from the right side last season, so he is a finisher. And I'm not just talking about his country. So I think he's
That
probably...
was a good one. I was thinking, what?
Oh.
I like that.
Took Marc a minute.
Yeah, it dropped in there. Don't worry, you'll drop in a minute.
There's a reason they've got more followers than us. That's why.
But yeah, I honestly thought that he would be central in pre-season, so I'm surprised. But yeah, I think that team will be the one that plays against Millwall.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Phil, but and look, we might as well hit the elephant in the room with the tuber thing. I've been saying for a couple of weeks on here. I think even with the likes of Silvera and where the young lads, is it Morgan Rogers scored against the French side late on, didn't he, tapping. But even with these players, Matthew Hoppe, I think we're striker short, mate. I do, and I know what you're saying about fours. He's not an out-and-out striker. He's going to chip in.
Yeah. But
I think we're a striker short, and it worries me as a Boro fan. And it didn't. If Tuba's now saying, "Yeah, I'm committed to staying at the club, and I'm injured, but I'm going to hit the ground running in game 3. I'll be back," and I'm hearing nothing. We've had nothing from Tuba since the fact that he never went to Portugal. That worries me. And I've said this a few times now on here, and you go, "It's just what the club are saying," and he's injured. Is that a smokescreen, Dana? What do you think? Is it a smokescreen?
No, I think he is injured. He actually told us off air on the pod that he picked up an injury in the second half of the second leg against Coventry, and if Boro got through that game and got to the playoff final, he'd have been out for that. So I think he's got an injury.
Right.
Well, all is right with the world then.
He's got, I think, it might not be the exact same injury, but he did pick up an injury at the very, very end of last season and was playing through it. So it might be a reoccurrence of that, which even taking out the transfers, that would concern me going into the season, because he's probably going to be out for... We
did have a lot of players playing with injuries last year, didn't we? I mean, we had Matt Crooks playing with a hernia for long. Howson was playing out to the point where he couldn't play against Coventry. He was just dead on his feet with injury. And then obviously Tube was also. So we have suffered a little bit there towards the end of the season.
That completely curtailed the end of the season, didn't it, with those injuries, and to key players as well. McGree was out for a while, or for a period. Howson, obviously you mentioned, and then Tuba picked up a knock.
And the likes of McGree, though, what you've got to consider as well, you know, he disappeared in November to go represent Australia at the World Cup, and he was a totally different. Like he was mediocre at best before he went. He came back in some phenomenal form.
Yeah.
But you know, playing for your country versus playing for your club, there's a lot more pressure on you to perform at country level, because that is the grandest stage. For him to carry that on for as long as he did, it was inevitable that there was going to be an injury or a niggle. The fact that Johnny Howson at his age is playing week in, week out against Hackney, who will run rings around Howson anyway, but for Howson to be able to compete with that level of fitness from a young lad and do that week in, week out for as long as... There was always going to be an injury at some point. There was always going to be an issue where a couple of these players are going to need time off. And I don't think...
What I have been happy with, and I don't know about you guys, but... And I'll always get his name wrong. Phil picks me up. Barlasser. Right? I get it wrong every week, Jane. Every week I get that wrong. But anyway, him, right?
Just him.
I thought him and Hackney, I mean... I think you said it last week, Phil, or the week before. Like it looked in some of them pre-season games like they played together for years. I mean, which is great for the Howson situation. But again, I'll go back to my original point. Even if Tuba's fit and staying, do we still not need another striker?
We do. We absolutely do, don't we? But I mean, Tuba's not playing in that striker role, is he? He's playing in that withdrawn number 10 position. So I think we've got Gilbert there, who looks good technically. Whether he can actually translate that into league football remains to be seen, because he's only ever played reserve football. We absolutely need a striker, without a shadow of a doubt. We do actually have depth there, it's just the quality of the depth isn't there, because you've got Crooks that can play up front, but you really want to see Crooks up front for the whole of the season. We don't.
No.
As much as I love the tree,
but at the same time, when you consider, you know, we're talking about needing more strikers, but when you consider, you know, Hoppe, Force, Crooks, Gilbert now, Silvera, Akpom,
he's
Rogers.
exciting, Silvera.
He is
very
seven players that we've got that can play up front. You've got 7 players there, so why why are you worried that we don't? Are you just worried because Akpom's not here and
I just worry that, and I said it last week and the week before. It's a bit like the Harry Kane situation because, you know, that Ange Postecoglou, whatever his name is, that big Ange, right?
Closer to the correct pronunciation than what you said before last time.
Big Ange may get to like the last week in the window,
and then suddenly lose,
and he's gone. We could get to the same way 5 days from the end of the window, and the Buddha say, "I'm sorry, but this money's too good to give up," which. In a business sense, I agree with, but then where does that leave Carrick?
You would. I mean, we were laying the plaudits down on Kieran Scott last week for some of these players he brought in that season. You would hope that if the club genuinely thought right now that there's a chance come next week or come the end of August that Akpom's not going to be here, they are actively looking right now because they know they're going to get at least 10 mil. So I would hope that they're in a position now where they go. Whether he goes now or in 3 weeks' time, this is who we go for.
Yeah,
I would hate to start the season with, no disrespect to the players that have come in and the likes of Hoppy, but I would hate to start the season with them knowing that they are just bit part until we bring somebody in and then they're going to be.
That's the bit what worries me.
In the match day squad.
Because, and I've said it right from show one, Carrick hasn't come here to finish in mid-table. No. He's not here for that. He's here to try and win something.
Yeah.
And if we don't, then he'll be off. And I don't mean that because he just goes, I don't like Boro. He's sought after, isn't he? He will be sought after. Yeah. He's proved that in his first year. And then, you know, that's what worries me, that maybe have we backed him enough? Certainly have with the younger players. And the profile, we mentioned that a couple of weeks in, said that his profile was under the age of 25, young, exciting players. That's what he wanted, and to be honest, it's what he's brought in. Let's have a look on the social media, Phil. Go on.
I don't think there's much happening.
Where is it? I've just seen one there. Lewis Clark says you were very busy on Saturday, mate, for that party in the car park.
Thank you, Lewis.
Michelle Bestwood says, "Hey, up your back. Hiya, Dana."
Good evening, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle. I'm not going to say it like that. I'm not going to say it like that.
You nearly did.
And everyone else, you've talked about Michelle Bestwood with a thumbs up there. Spencer Cooper's watching. Rachel Marley Court is watching. Tony Costello, Adam Bragg, Claire Ufano, I wonder who that is.
Yeah.
Mark Bryden, Stu Gawley, Tony Costello, your mum, Tony Dixon.
Yeah, big Tone. If Tony's watching, they're all watching. Right, so before we talk about your other job at Wrecker Athletic, let's talk about Millwall coming up. So we've said, do we think that'll be the game? I mean, I'm looking forward to the game. I won't lie to you. I'm sick of not watching pre-season football. I'm sick of watching, you know, daft games from America, Arsenal against just ridiculous games.
Premier League against Premier League in America.
Out in America, just trying to make money. But obviously we've got like George Saville and Duncan Watmore potentially coming back. I hope they don't come home to roost. But
is Bradshaw still there? Has he moved on? Or is Bradshaw still at?
No, he's still there.
See, I know he's not an ex-Boro player, mate, but he was phenomenal coming into last season.
Yeah. So look, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. But I would like to think that even with the players available, that we're going to hit the ground running, aren't we?
What do you think his defensive lineup's going to be? I was really surprised against Auxerre that this Fry started over.
Can I just stop you here, Dana? I'll just stop you here. And I'm sorry to do this. This is the bit where the Teesside Rambler has a go at Dale Fry for 10 minutes.
Ooh.
I'm not having a go at Dale Fry.
And set that stopwatch on Reg the Rock.
And it's just a question. Right.
Dale, I know Dale watches because he watches under a different name, so I know Dale's watching. I'm not telling you.
Dale's right.
Dale, start logging it down, mate.
I was surprised to see Dale Fry start over. Is it Vanderberg? What's he called?
And on that bombshell, we'll see you next.
In the games that Vanderberg has played, he has looked, and I don't just mean he's looked a much better player. I'm not going to say he's a much better player than Fry, but I would always have Lenihan in my start over Fry in my starting lineup. So
there was a point at the start of last season. Like I wouldn't have agreed with Lenihan. He got better and better throughout the season. Lenihan.
But we had such a poor start. I mean, he got sent off against QPR, you know, and that's probably where you're thinking, wouldn't have had him. But since QPR, Lenihan became one of our strongest players in the squad. And you could see that him being captain of the teams benefited the younger kids on our team. But I'm just surprised that against Auxerre, it was Fry who started over. Considering so many more prestigious clubs wanted his signature, he's surely coming here and saying, I'm not coming here to sit on the bench. If I'm turning down the likes of AC Milan and whatnot.
But he would have went to them and sat on the bench.
Yeah, I think.
But there's a difference though, isn't there? Totally different calibre of league.
I know what you're saying,
I think those teams would have signed him for his potential. For me, Dale Fry's Boro's best defender, so I think
he's a proper defender.
See you later.
Yeah.
I think Nike fire there.
See, it's not. Dana, I agree, and Phil will tell you. I think Dale is a. I hate to say it, but he's an old-fashioned defender. He's a bit Jonathan Woodgate-ish. You know, Dale Fry, he'll kick that ball into Rowe's head.
He will, yeah.
To get rid of it, to stop that going in the back of the net. He won't try and take anyone on to try and get. And you know, the times he has done that, he may have made a bit of a boo-boo. Yeah. So he picks up on things. But I also agree with you, Phil, because I think he'll probably turn out, Rav, to probably be Carrick's best signing this season, because he has looked fantastic in the pre-season games. He has looked really well.
Silver is a shout for that, though. I think I'm really, really excited for him. He just looks fun, doesn't he? He's a very fun player, but also seems to have that end product.
We do tend to sort of scupper forwards as the Boro, though, don't we?
We've got 7 to work on this.
We generally kill forwards off.
Turn them into central defenders.
Yes, so we do tend to kill them off. But as signings go, and you are right, a lot of big clubs, he didn't turn them down, but a lot of big clubs, he's looked at him and his agent and thought, where are you going to play? And the fact that his brother plays for Liverpool and has been out on loan twice to Championship clubs and played a hell of a lot of games in the Championship, he said, this is where you're going to make your bread and butter. This is where you're going to play football and get noticed. That's what footballers do. Yeah. So that's why I think he's come to the Boro. And obviously to play under Carrick, you know, I think we've got a manager now, a bit like the Robson era. We've got a manager now what attracts players. Michael Carrick, England, Manchester United, you know. We have got a manager who does attract players, so...
And Woodgate as well. Woodgate will be a really important pull for a defender, especially.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of doubt. I mean, I think Woody got sort of the raw end of the stick last time he was here, you know, and threw under the bus a little bit. But you know, I think under Carrick, I think we've mentioned it on here before. I think it was a shrewd move by Carrick or the club or whoever made that decision to bring him in as a number 2.
Yeah, he's been brilliant.
It was a shrewd move, fantastic. And Jonathan, if you're watching, we need you sat in here, right?
Bring Carrick if you want.
Yeah, so I hate to say it, but we're in that first time. Predictions?
Predictions.
Do you know, I didn't even consider that earlier when we were talking about it.
Well, you know, it's the first time we've had to do a prediction for a league game. What do we think?
Yeah, you know what?
Not them down, see who's right next week.
Yeah,
for the next week.
Good idea.
For the first time.
You know what? I was thinking 2-1 Boro, and Matt Crooks is going to score at some point.
Wow.
I feel like it's just Matt Crooks' territory to score.
Get a tenner on that.
Are we going for that?
And Hayden Hackney. I actually think Hackney's going to have a good goal scorer this season.
So you reckon Crooks and Hackney?
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't do something ridiculous.
The Rambler?
See, I was also thinking 2-1, but let's go 2-0 Boro.
Wow.
I'm going to go Silvera with both.
Oh, Silvera with a brace. And look, I am probably going to sit on the fence here a little bit, ladies and gents. But I'm going to say Boro 5, Millwall 0, Silvera hat-trick, and Rav to come on and score 2 at the back post. There you go. I'm putting that down. 5-0. If that comes in, we'll be millionaires.
Do you think we're going to score from a corner?
I think he's going to. Yeah. First time in 9 years. So, hey, look. It's great to be talking about Boro's first game as well. I'm excited. It's like Christmas Eve. Let's talk about Regular Athletic. Before we go, let's talk about Regular Athletic. Our fantastic sponsor, Tony Dixie's been on there. He lives up in Mask and he goes to watch Regular Athletic quite a bit. Tony from BT Promotions, one of our sponsors. And you do... I'll let you explain. You're the PR...
I am part of the media team.
Part of the media
officer.
Team. Now, look, I have a little soft spot for Regular Athletic. I told you before we came on here, my brother-in-law played from two years ago. I love sorry, he's not the chairman now. I think he's the president.
Kev.
Love him to bits. I've known him a long time.
Top.
He's a fantastic bloke for grassroots football,
100%.
Kev. And obviously the manager, Gary Foster, who I had the privilege of working with when he was at Gisborough, and I looked after his reserve team side, pushing them through to the first team. So, and I think Gary's done a good job, really. I know, and I know, you know, the sponsors and the people who look after the club, you know, they're spending a little bit of money. They're investing in grassroots football, which is fantastic. I know they've just kicked up look, let's talk pre-season first. I thought some of the pre-season games were great. What was it? 1,700 people against Hartlepool.
1,700 against Hartlepool. Yeah.
Wow.
Record crowd.
Wow. I mean,
fantastic.
And it was pouring down as well that night. So
it was, and they went 1-0 in front, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
They were,
yeah.
and look,
you know what? I didn't even see that goal. I missed it.
I don't think anyone expected Reading to win that night.
Oh no.
But to have 1,700 people plus at a grassroots game, and look, I always remember my brother-in-law telling me, Lee Bythwaite, when he played for him 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, he said, "This is a club what is going places." And Kev was saying, "Look, we're trying to do things right." And you know what? Every time I go back, and I said to you before we come in here, we're going to come down on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night whenever you've got a game at there. We're going to do a little live from there. Maybe we can chat with people there, and watch the game. But from the media side of it, I mean, I don't know whether you were involved in it, but I was watching they do things like, you have a membership now and things like that, don't they? So the kids can become members and parents can become members. So is that like a season ticket, or are they open to other things? Do they get?
Yeah, it's like a season ticket, but a little bit more. So they get into the monthly meetings, the monthly quiz. They get a stay local card, which enables them to get a percentage discount in our sort of affiliates. So Rita's in Redcar, just opposite the pier, they'll get money off there. So it's doing things differently, which I think is sometimes a little bit, you know, it raises a few eyebrows sometimes because it's going against the norm. But it's well backed and fair play, you know, it's working.
The thing is there though, I think it raises eyebrows because other people aren't, they don't have the balls to try it themselves.
Yeah.
So they'll be watching your success and how you get on. And you can guarantee if it's a success this season, which it undoubtedly will be, they'll be doing it themselves next season.
Yeah, it's
and
not
they'll start
it
doing
becomes a success. It becomes
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Look, the people out there know, and these guys know, I love Northern League football, been in and around it, you know, a while. But I like Redcar Athletic for me, even 3 seasons ago, before it had investors that they've got now and things like that, it was always a proactive club. Kev always made it a proactive club. I think a lot of Northern League sides out there are reactive, so that you know, they'll say we need to do that after the event. You know, where Kev was always like a step ahead with Redcar Athletic.
He's an absolute top man.
You know, and like all credit goes to for me. I can't speak highly of him, to be honest. And the guys, you know, the guys who've come in and backed it, put the money where the mouth is. You know, Gary's a well experienced manager. And obviously he's used contacts to get him in. I mean, some fantastic sounds. And look, we mentioned it actually on the show when it happened because I thought it was that big. We had to mention it. Bringing the captain of Mask United, who was there over 10 years, I think, wasn't he? Yeah. They were going to name a stand. They were going to name a stand after him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They were going to name a stand after him, by the way, Paul, weren't they? And he signed for Redcar Athletic, and to do that, to have that pulling power as a grassroots club is fantastic. It is a club, and what I would say, because I would do it, you know, my little lad used to go there. We used to sponsor the last manager, me and my son. We sponsored the last manager, so he used to go all the time and have his photograph tucked in the dugout and things like that. He loved it. What I would say is when the Boro are at home, and you're not going to a away game, that's the place to go for me. Redcar Athletic. It is the place to go to watch. There's some good footballers and some good young footballers. The young goalkeeper, the lad from Normanby he played for Teesside Rangers when he was this big. I'm trying to think. The centre forward Isaac Walker, who was at Gisborough Reserve.
That we got him back.
Who was at Gisborough Reserves with me.
I
am not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. Shall I tell you the story? Shall I?
Go for it.
Right. So
I want to know now.
Shall I tell you? I'll tell you. We've got a bit of time. So I was at Gisborough Reserves. Sent to Gary Foster. got this kid in the reserves, he's scoring some goals, he is the real deal, Gary. No, he's too young. Gary, I'm telling you now, he'll fire you. No, Marc, come on, think about it, we're paying. And Gisborough had like a lot of non-league clubs, they had a budget to play certain players, and they were bound to these little contracts and things like that. And I thought, yeah, no problem. Lo and behold, pops his clogs and goes to Redcar Athletic, and I thought, the one that got away. I then come away from Gisborough, Gary goes to, I think it was Sinners or something like that.
Brilliant player, honestly, a really, really good player.
And then goes to Blythe, and he went off to Blythe.
He should have had more of an opportunity at Blythe. I'm really surprised.
Well, when he went, I thought that was it.
That
when he went there, he is a quality player.
Oh, absolutely.
He will score a hatful of goals next year in that Northern League. A hatful of goals.
But he did the last time that he was at Redcar. So.
And what a good down-to-earth kid he is as well. What a nice bloke he is to meet.
Brilliant.
He's fantastic. Trying to think the other young ones I've got there. Anyway, in fact, get yourself down to Redcar Athletic and see Dana and the team, or they can. What can they do, Phil, on that social media? They can like and share.
Like and follow the page. Yeah.
Like and follow
Redcar Athletic.
There you go. And you'll find out everything.
Is it Redcar Athletic?
Yeah, Redcar Athletic.
See how technically minded I am, Dana.
Put me on the spot there, Phil. It can just. What am I reading comments or?
Just click a button, yeah.
Phil, read the last bits out, mate. We've got to go. He's got to get his bus up, lad.
It's basically just basically Paul and Adam Bragg talking.
I'm going to go at each other.
Talking the W word that we're not going to mention this week.
Whoa! He knows not to speak W. We don't speak W, and we don't speak strat, and we don't speak monk. We don't speak them.
You're talking a different language.
We don't speak to them on here. Hey, look, it's been fantastic to have you in, Dana. I hope you can come back again maybe next month and see us, and then we can talk about some league games and hopefully some good results. The Rambler, thank you very much, mate, as always.
No worries.
Dana, thank you. Boro Breakdown, like and share, whatever Boro Breakdown do. You've got a fantastic graphic as well of that in-depth that I did say I was going to speak about there. So Boro Breakdown have got a graphic on. Go on Boro Breakdown's page and like it and have a look. They've got a graphic up there with all the squad in there.
It's basically squad depth, isn't
and
it?
the depth. And I was looking at it, I thought, it's fantastic.
I love the left back, it just says...
By Boro Breakdown's graphic designer, I think. What's his name again?
Matt Rowney. Fantastic work.
There we go. Fantastic work, Matt. And from Yaff, hey look, I'm Yaff and I'm off. And I'll see you all next week. Thanks, Dana. Thanks, The Rambler. See ya.